Welcome to the MagiReco News. I'm MagiReco, there was Yilum, Boulder every day. Our top story today, the hospital trio and some dead girl have been SE unlocked. But before we get to that, there's a very important thing we need to talk about. There has been a bug fix about some mirror ranking points in the practice session not being calculated correctly. Okay, about the spirit enhancement though, so we have Toka. Can you believe it, by the way? Toka was recently I somehow accidentally turned Toka into an Uwasa who apparently didn't exist anymore. But it's okay, because that Uwasa was resolved and now she exists again. That was weird. But yeah, she has spirit enhancement. What can we talk about? I mean, of course I'm gonna give like actual full videos about these spirit enhancement unlocks. But for now, just a quick overview, because there has been some stuff posted here. Not the entire spirit enhancement, but just a few notes. So I can tell you right away, all of these spirit enhancements, not that great, but not bad either. They're sort of middle of the road kind of meh kind of thing. So Toka, her spirit enhancement is her active does MP damage to enemies, so reduces enemy MP, while at the same time giving yourself a Magia, no, not MP, a Magia down, gives Magia down to enemy and gives yourself Magia up. You're probably not going to use both of these at the same time. Like, when it's actually going to happen that the enemy Magia is in the same turn that you Magia, but yeah, just nice, I guess, to give yourself a Magia up. Of course, it's very egotistical in that you only give it to yourself, but I guess this is fine. It's not actually bad, it's fine to give yourself Magia up. It seems to be Magia up strength 6, like Roman number 6, which might be anywhere between 20% and 80%, we don't really know. But yeah, it seems fine. The other stuff is, she passively just gets attack up and defense up, without anything attached to it, like not add critical health or add full health, you just get attack up and defense up 3, which I think is like somewhere between 7.5 to 30,000%, because Roman numbers don't mean anything. But yeah, it's probably gonna be something like 10%, maybe even 15%. Probably just to make sure that her stats aren't that terrible, because her stats are actually kind of terrible for being a character that is supposed to actually be quite strong in universe. And what else do we have? She gets a Magia up 3. I mean, most characters get a Magia up. I guess hers just a little bit stronger than other characters. Okay. And she also gets Aqua Damage Cut. Aqua Damage Cut. Hold up. That's the element that's strong against her. Actually, a damage cut against an element that actually makes sense. Like, it makes more sense to get a damage cut from the element that is strong against you than all the other damage cuts that we've seen, where it shows a damage cut against the enemy that you're strong against, where it doesn't really make much sense to damage cut that even further. But now, with the Aqua Damage Cut, she actually takes less damage from the element that's strong against her. That's nice. That's nice. Makes her not die immediately. That makes it so that she doesn't die in one hit against Yachio Blast Combo. Now instead, she dies in one hit, because she has no defense. With Nemu, her spirit enhancement is the following. Nice formatting, by the way. This is the website, not the other thing. So her active is, it gives Dazzle to the enemy, to a single enemy, and a Charm. So Dazzle and Charm on one enemy. Cool, that's fine. It's gonna be good against bosses to have double the chance of inflicting a status ailment, and if the Dazzle hits, then you're getting the increased power to weak element as well. That's fine. What else do we have? The passives. You have a shield against one status ailment at the start of a battle. Lasts for infinite turns. So the first status ailment in any battle is gonna get voided, which is nice, I guess. It also has anti-skill seal and anti-magia seal. Apparently the anti-magia seal isn't 100% because it says chance to, so it's probably gonna be like 65% or something. Again, fine, but nothing spectacular. And with Ui, her spirit enhancement is basically non-existent, just like her character. So she does curse to a single enemy on her active, and gives the entire team status ailment resistance up for one turn. That's fine. It's gonna be like 15%, maybe 20%, maybe. Also not that high numbers, like it's only Roman numeral 3, which isn't very high. But yeah, sure, once again, it's not terrible, I guess, but not really anything special. What else does she have? She has Fast Man up 10%, which has just been nerfed, which so it would give her 15 MP at the start of a battle if she has Magia level 5. Not a whole lot. What else does she have? Damage up on alien enemies. Added killer, she gets added killer, but only strength 1. What's that gonna be, like 5%, maybe 10%? That's basically nothing. And continuing with the basically nothing trend, Excel MP up 1. Isn't that like 7% or something? Like 10%? That's also, once again, basically nothing. Wait, why does she not get anything? Is it because she's as vacuous as a character? Anyway, Sarasahana. Or just Hana. She's dead. We also gets a active that does fog on all enemies for 3 turns, and also gives MP gain down to all enemies for 3 turns, and XLMP gain down to all enemies. Sure. I mean, it completely screws over enemy Magia teams, I guess, for 3 turns, because it does both Excel down and MP gain down. So even if they have MP restore, which on EX quests or 100 Evils quests, characters will, enemy characters usually have an effect where at the start of a turn they get like 30 MP or whatever. That also gets reduced with the just MP down from here. So yeah, it screws over MP strikes from the enemy, and it does Fog. I guess Fog is not that important, but at least you can get addict killers going. So yeah, once again, not that's super duper amazing, but hey, it's alright. And her passives are addict killer. Well, there we go. She gets her own addict killer at least strength 2. Can you imagine that some random run-of-the-mill character gets a better passive than someone who has like godlike powers? Sure, game is fine. What you also have chance to defense pierce, sure, and critical hit. I don't know why it says right here critical hit, because most characters that are like offensively oriented get critical hit anyway. Maybe she just doesn't have any other interesting nodes. That's very much possible, that all her other nodes are just very much boring. So they just wrote down critical hit. Sure, she has critical hit, sure. And that's why for these 4 characters. Now, of course, there's a bunch of other stuff, as you can see. I want to talk about something very quickly, though, that wasn't mentioned in the news before this, in that there has been a new item added to the Magia Stones shop and probably available from some other sources in the future. Maybe at some point it like, gets added to events or to some Miracon shop, who knows. But this new item, I think it's like the notebook. I think it's called the Clear Album. What it does is basically you can use it to give a character episode points. I don't know why they didn't announce this. They just dropped it and said, hey, we just added this to the game. Cool. So yeah, you should probably not buy that one, because now with the auto farm, like the blue auto repeat button, it's extremely trivially easy to farm episode points, because you can just throw down a bunch of pink AP pots, go into that character's MSS, like MagiReco Story, press the blue button, go AFK, come back an hour later, and you're halfway there to Magia level 5, and then you just do the same thing again, and then you're at Magia level 5. Like, that's basically as simple as it is nowadays. You don't need to spend precious resources on an item that does that for you. But yeah, just thought to mention it. But like I said, there's no news post for that. I don't know why. And that's already in the game right now. It's in the shop. It's Magia Stone shop. Don't buy it. It's not worth it. So what are they also going to add on the 21st? Yeah, on 21st is when the new stuff. So all the stuff that we're going to talk about right now launches on the 21st. Felicia is on here. She's not actually part of this, but her face is on this banner. We got some bags that are basically used to give you a bunch of materials that are specifically about raising your dark type character. So you get some dark type resources, some stuff, but you also get some daily coins, some money, some general SE resources. So you have one bag right here, of which there are 3 in the shop, that cost 20 paid stones, and then you have the shop, this one right here, which is also 3 times in the shop, that costs 50 regular stones. If you, for example, reason wanted to buy both of these, you could get a total of 6 bags that all have this stuff in it. How important is this stuff? Well, if you have a Fresh Red Hound, or let's say you have characters that you just rolled, like for example you just rolled Toka Nemu, Toka exists again, awesome, or if you just rolled Mikage or other similar dark type characters, or any other character that you specifically want to get their SE for, that you specifically want to raise to get ready for the next emoji, or just in general because you've got some characters that just aren't fully SE, that aren't fully raised, and you really want to get to raising them, then this is fine. Like, if you already have like 2 or 3 good characters that aren't raised yet, it's more important to raise them than to try and roll for more characters, in my opinion, because you only need like 2 or 3 good characters to basically beat everything. So make sure you can raise them, and this is actually fine for that. So if you got some stones left over and you really want to raise some old characters that you have, sure, do that. This bag is fine for that. So what else do we have? We have, well, now since we got new SEs, we're gonna get a gacha, right, for the hospital trio? No. They've suddenly stopped doing that, where characters that get their SE released at the same time also get a rerun of their gacha. So no, Toka, Nemu, like singular Toka, singular Nemu, and Ui, and they don't have their own gacha now. Instead, they're doing just a general Dark Element gacha. And I know on here we see Mikura, we see Rui, and people might think to themselves, oh wait a second, not this one, that's this one. Here we see Rui, we see Hana, we see Ui, and people might think to themselves, it's these 3 characters having rate up. Right, but also other characters. In fact, the rate up for this gacha is not just these characters that are listed right here. In fact, it's basically all unlimited dark type characters. So all dark type characters, including Mikage, Mifuyu, Mikura, Ren, all of these characters, they're all in here. Which also means get ready to get spooked by Kirika. Yay! Kirika's spooks are back. So yeah, don't roll this gacha thinking it's just these 3 characters that have rate up. All dark unlimited characters are in a rate up in here, so probably not worth it rolling on this. Probably not worth it at all, because if you want a specific character in this list, you're probably not gonna get it. Like if you want specifically Ui, for example, probably are not gonna get her. Like the actual, like if you get an SSR, the actual chance of getting Ui might be something like compared to others like 10% maybe. I don't know, I'm just doing stuff in my head. Actually worse than that, it's like 8%. Like if you get an SSR, let's say you get to pity, let's say you get to the 100th roll, that 100th roll being Ui specifically is like 8% or something like that. It's really low because she's sharing the spotlight with all of these other characters. Like some of these are like low rated characters, like Kanoko in here, awesome, get the mushrooms. But in general, if you want a specific one of these characters, don't roll for this. If you want just any dark type character, sure, why not? But probably not worth it. Something that's interesting, I don't know where exactly it's mentioned, but apparently the Mitama coins for this gacha are the same Mitama coins as the one for the Toka Nemo gacha. So if you, for some reason, still have got some, like 300 coins from a Toka Nemo gacha, maybe you could just buy one of the characters from here with that. I don't know, seems like something that doesn't matter. So what else was in here? So I already talked about this one. Well, I showed it, but I didn't talk about it. This one right here is another way of getting more dark type characters for 150 paid stones. So if you have 150 paid Magia stones, what you can do is you can roll a special gacha once that gives you 1 guaranteed random dark type SSR, and it's once again all the unlimited dark type characters. So once again, if you want a specific dark type character from the entire unlimited dark type pool, probably don't roll for this. The chance of getting a specific one is pretty bad. 1 in 11. 1 in 11, it's exactly 11, so not that great. But if you just want any dark type SSR and you have 150 paid Magia stones that you can just throw out, sure, why not? What else do we have? There's a bunch of stuff in here. So that was the last thing we looked at, and we have the next Kimochi is coming. Nothing too special here because we already had a bunch of info on this from earlier news. So it's the next Kimochi, it's the Vigorous Opal Neck. Vigorous Opal Neck. Okay, so apparently this enemy might be on these sort of tiles. So these 4 tiles you see right here might be what you're gonna get in the actual battle, but that's not for certain because those are just the same tiles that Kimochi had in the story, because we fought this Kimochi in the main story, and in the main story I think it had these tiles, not quite sure, but it might have different tiles in the actual game. I don't know, but it's possible that it has these tiles. More importantly though, it is a light type Kimochi, so get your dark types out, get the darkness, tonight let darkness reign. And apparently they said some stuff, they haven't said exactly what the Kimochi will do, because of course you're supposed to figure that out yourself. You can just do training exercises when the Kimochi comes out. But they've said that the Kimochi will apparently have like shields against being afflicted with debuffs and being afflicted with status ailments, and they say that, well, the Kimochi is pretty strong though, so what you should do is you should on one hand buff your own team for bigger output, and at the same time keep throwing debuffs and status ailments at the enemy to first get rid of the shields and then actually get debuffs on the enemy. So they say bring all the debuffs you can, bring all the buffs you can, status ailments, awesome. And that's basically what they're saying. And here's a bunch of characters that you should probably use. Sure, just use any of these characters. I think the top row is for debuffs. Hey, look at that. These characters can do debuffs well. Look at that. These characters can do buffs well. To some degree, you could have actually counted Mikage at the top as well, because when she doppels, she burns the enemy, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, look at that. Some new characters are in here. Toka Nemo, the characters just released, is actually the perfect unit for this Kimochi. Isn't that amazing? It's almost like they planned this. And also Mikage is also pretty amazing for this Kimochi, and probably every other Kimochi from now on. So yeah, once again, if you roll for Mikage, you're gonna have a good time. But once again, you don't need specifically these characters. just pick any character that you think does well against this sort of enemy. I'm not gonna give you specific list of exact team combinations that you should have. And after like 1 or 2 days, if you're on the Discord, there probably will be some people that have figured out some really good strategies. So yeah, like last time it took like 1 day for people to figure out, wait a second, Solo Momoko actually slays everything immediately and wins. Just wins. Or Solo F-Tart was also really good. People figured that out after 1 day, so yeah. That's about that. I have made a video about Kimochi in general, so if you can check out my advanced guide to Kimochi. Did I even call it advanced guide? Just my guide to Kimochi, which basically just tells you what Kimochi battle are and what you do. But of course, the specific strategy for this specific Kimochi is just something that you have to ask people about. It's also, I can't really make a video about that because this is just something that happens when people play the Kimochi and people do some testing around, do some practicing, and then just find out what works. And then what works is stuff that just gets told between different people. Like some guy goes, hey, I tested this setup and it works pretty well. You can play that setup as well. That's basically what it's going to be like. So I think making a video about that is going to be terrible because I could only make a video about this after 4 days when the event is already over. Anyway, that's about that. What else is there? Well, there's one more important news. There's going to be a maintenance on the 21st to get the new content out. That's it. I hope you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.